It's Ray Gift TV.
Ray Gift TV.
Let's get right to it.
On all of his testimony, or he's a low-key genius and he said, look, I'm going to throw this case in the toilet and Thug's going to walk through.
A little bit of both. What he seen, they gave him immunity and without stipulations, and he played them.
Played him.
That's facts.
Played him like a new game.
I feel like some of the most damning stuff though that we've seen in this Thug interrogation isn't even necessarily him admitting to crimes. Like, it's just him breaking down the whole situation with Birdman and Wayne. I mean, to be honest, I've covered the Birdman Lil Wayne lawsuit, and hearing this interrogation, I'm hearing background story that I never even knew, not even on a civil court vibe.
Like what? Like what points you talking about?
So Thug basically said that he felt like Birdman played him, and that Birdman had told him, oh, Wayne just wants to drop the Carter 5 with no singles, and I don't want to do it. I'm holding the Carter 5 because I want him to push a single and have a viral single so that the album does well. This is what Birdman allegedly told Thug. So Thug's telling the police, Birdman told me this, but come to find out, it turns out that actually Birdman hadn't paid Wayne his $30 million, and Wayne was saying, free the Carter 5.
That's cap.
But is that Thug capping?
Cap? No, that's that whole. First of all, the history of Cash Money has been, and they the one established it. They was dropping 3 singles, 2 to 3 singles minimum before an album come out. I'm gonna tell you why. Because back then, unlike today, the single count went towards the first week. So if they got 2, 3 singles that then sold and went well, they're guaranteed that count for that first week of album sales. First of all,
That makes sense.
Second of all, you never ever heard Wayne ever double back and say, see, I told you he owed me. After the audit, you never heard that.
That's a good point. And even Thug,
No good point. Remember, I'm inside the bubble.
Mm.
It's so if somebody is screaming, you owe me, you owe me, you owe me, and somebody says, okay, we go to audit, and they go to audit, and that audit reflects he in fact was owed. If he was screaming that prior to, if he in fact was owed after the audit went in that person's favor, what is he gonna be screaming even louder after the fact?
Yeah.
I told you he owed me. Now, what's the one thing gonna stop a person from saying anything?
I get what you're getting at, Wack. And if you basically turns out you didn't owe anything, you wouldn't want to talk about it. But also, if you got paid off, and you signed some kind of non-disparagement clause NDA, that might be another reason why you might not want to talk.
See, here goes the thing, right? And I've told this story before. Birdman gave Wayne a contract no other artist has ever seen before in their life. That contract reads that Dwayne Carter shall receive whatsoever he desires. Any overage is to be charged to the Cash Money catalog.
Wow.
So let me help you understand what this means. Outside of the $10 million budget he gets, if Wayne says, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that, then let's say the album generates $8 million and they spend $15 million, right? Guess what? His second budget is already ready. You know why? Because that $7 million that's in the negative charges back the Cash Money. This is what it reads. So when you have somebody young, in Wayne's defense, when you have somebody young like that, who's been walking around not having to keep count, and starts to say, hey, you this, you that. Well, I can't argue with you. We got to go to audit. And they start to go through things. And the numbers come back in favor of the other person. right? Because he by right could never owe, because Birdman has agreed to cover whatever it may be. Now, what they don't want to tell you, and this because Stunna is just so laid back and so protective of Wayne, is even after the audit, when it came back the way it came back, and nobody owed anybody. You know what Stunna did? Neff, son, what you need? What you say it is? You see right here, I don't owe you, right? Okay. But you say you need 30, right? I love you. Here you go. There go your 30.
Hey, Thug did say the cops asked Thug, "Hey, how did this get resolved? How did that lawsuit get resolved?" He said he didn't know, but he did say that he believed that Wayne got 30 million. So the way you're saying it is, it was like Birdman basically won in court and still gave him his money out of.
That's a fact.
Wow, that's crazy.
And if you listen to Birdman's interview, I believe on Big Facts, he touches on it. He just didn't tell you what it was when he said, I gave Nicki 50 million, I gave such and such 100 million. He touches on it. He breaks it down. People just didn't catch what he was saying.
So I got asked the question. This ain't a question for you, Wack. I know you don't want to answer this question. I know you probably don't even want to go onto this topic. But okay, the reason the cops were talking to Thug is they was trying to get to the bottom of one question, because they knew that Pee Wee shot up the tour bus. They wanted to know who he was shooting it up for, exactly why he was shooting the tour bus up. Now, to me, if I'm completely honest, just taking a step back from the situation, it feels like they're just basically trying to find out, was it Thug or was it Birdman who charged up Pee Wee to go and shoot the tour bus up, allegedly, right? And I feel like, realistically, that whole 2 hours, Thug is just very low-key kind of pushing this whole thing of, well, Birdman got the whole beef with Wayne, and Birdman, I got no idea, nothing to do with it. And I feel like that's what looks the craziest.
Yo, Floor, he talking to y'all?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else wants to pick that one up, but that's why it looks crazy.
He talking.
Now say it again, Trap. I thought you was directing that at Wack. Say that again.
Okay, I'll simplify it, yeah. The cops are basically sitting Young Thug down in that interrogation room because they know Pee Wee shot up the bus, but they want to know who put the battery in his back to shoot up the bus. Was it Thug and his beef with Wayne, or was it Birdman and his beef with Wayne? And I feel like the fact that he sat there for 2 hours, he's basically trying to brush them off of himself and kind of say, well, the beef with Birdman, the contract dispute with Birdman, Wayne and Birdman. I was just always a fan of Wayne's. So I feel like that was the purpose of him wanting to speak to them for 2 hours. And really, if anybody has their business aired out in that conversation, it's Birdman.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he was trying to push it kind of like on Birdman, because I think he started recognizing what they was doing later in the interview. Like you seen in the interview when they started asking him all them gang related questions and trying to like bounce around YSL and bounce around that Thug was throwing up gang signs and shit like that. I think when they said that, the Thug was thinking Rico in his mind. So he was trying to get them off him and put them on Birdman. You dig what I'm saying?
One of the craziest things from it, I thought, was when he basically said, this is why I took a step away from Birdman. He says, Birdman sent me 10 texts and I've ignored all of them. I'm not replying to him. I don't want to believe it. Just those little bits of information, it's kind of like, well, you're in an interview with the detectives about this situation. They said at the start what they wanted to talk to him about. So the fact that you're even in the conversation, this isn't snitching. You're not saying Birdman committed a crime, but you're in the interrogation room saying, I don't trust this guy. I don't talk to him no more. I could show you 10 texts where I'm ignoring this guy. Like, I feel like that's really, like, that's some of that stuff looks pretty crazy, even though that's not telling, but it's like, why are you even in the conversation talking about you don't talk to this guy anymore?
It really is telling though, bro, because he's beating around the bush basically and implying that Birdman would have a reason to want to get at Lil Wayne like that. He implying that Birdman is the person that would have a reason to want to have Lil Wayne tour bus shot up. Also, he's trying to make it seem like Birdman and Pee Wee Roscoe is cool and that Pee Wee Roscoe is tied in with that circle. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he definitely was trying to get the heat off of him and pass it over to Birdman them in like a slick snitching ass way.
Yeah, that shit's crazy, bro.
I feel like there's moments in that interview where it's like, I think there's moments where you feel like Young Thug thinks that he's being smart and slick and that he's kind of got them, and then I think there's other moments where he almost comes unstuck and realizes he's maybe in over and above his head, because it's like 1 minute he's saying, "Oh, I couldn't understand why Pee Wee would do this," and then the next minute he's kind of speaking on Birdman like a little bit too much. It's kind of like, I feel like maybe he went in there thinking like, "Oh, I'm going to be slick and I'm going to find out what they know," and then low key, because I look, I know street guys aren't going to want to hear this, but I thought those detectives were damn good. Like, they was playing dumb and they knew his lyrics, and they were saying, "What's YSL?" They were killing it. They need to start doing some hip hop interviews, man, because that was like damn near Charlemagne the God.
How you think he gonna try to wiggle up out of this though? You know he gonna have to respond to it now because it's a lot of attention on this shit. By tomorrow morning, it's gonna be a lot of clips going around of this shit, bro.
Time that he said all that shit.
Yeah, but it ain't have the attention it got now, bro. These clips gonna be everywhere by tomorrow, bro. Academics talking about it, Wack talking about it, Trap Lil Ross talking about it. It's gonna spread, and now he gonna be forced to say something, or somebody on his team gonna be forced to say something.
He's probably gonna diss Gunner again to try and distract everyone, but I don't think that's gonna work this time.
Yeah, nah, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
That's out.
That's done.
I personally, and I know he wouldn't do this, but I personally feel like the best thing he could do is ease up on Gunner. But I feel like he's dug a hole for himself now to this point where he can't respond. But one of the most interesting things about this, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but I believe that they actually were trying to introduce this recording during the YSL trial as evidence in Thug's defense to basically say, you know, he clearly made it clear that YSL wasn't a gang all the way back in 2015. And I think the reason why it leaked, because this happened in 2015 but it didn't surface until like 2 years ago, I think, during the trial. And I don't know whether it was something where they was trying to use it as evidence and then someone got hold of it and leaked it, or whether they leaked it intentionally, because maybe at the time when Thug was looking at facing life in this trial, it might have been a good look for him to have this out. But obviously now that it's out there, he's done 2 years worth of dissing towards Gunner. I don't really know how he can respond to this.
Do you think that was the reason that Young Thug and Birdman parted ways in the first place? Because that's when they parted ways around 2015. Like, maybe Birdman knew the interrogation, and rather than, you know, do some loud shit, they just parted ways off that.
You know what's really strange? I feel like in the interrogation, Thug says he doesn't fuck with Birdman no more. And this was only, I think it was June or July of 2015. And so we're talking, this is like 7 months after Big Nut got killed. And only like, you know, I think it was April, so it would have been two to 3 months after the tour bus shooting. So he's saying all the way back in mid 2015 that he's not feeling Birdman. Now, I don't know whether to believe Thug when he says he really didn't messing with Birdman at that time, but clearly we never really saw them two again. And he said in the interview he stopped messing with Birdman because when he found out that Wayne was in a bad contract, he didn't want to be on the same contract, and he signed with 300. But realistically, we don't know if he's telling the truth. So it's like it's impossible really for anyone on the outside to know when exactly Birdman stopped fucking with Thug. But I think this interview only came out 2 years ago, but maybe he found about it some other way back then.
Hey, what made you revisit this though? Since this was like 2 years ago, what made you revisit this? What made you want to do this content?
I'm gonna keep it real, man. Like, if you know the YouTuber Seti Nash, I was in a conversation with him and he told me about this video being around, and I said, no way, like I've never actually heard that. And then I managed to track it down, and then it got deleted, and he re-uploaded a copy of it to his channel only like a week ago. And it was really, you know what it's like when I feel like Thug's team been trying to delete this for a while, but you know what it's like when I'm a nerd, so when people try and delete stuff, I've seen rappers delete videos, delete Instagram posts. I'm a nerd, so I be digging that stuff up. So when it got deleted, that's really what put the battery in my back to say, all right, let me track this down. Who's got this? Like, I need to know what's in this if they're trying to delete this and take this down. And so that's what made me revisit it. And I think the reason it didn't get much shine is because it hadn't really had a full breakdown. Like, it's 2 hours of pretty low quality audio. Sometimes it's quite hard to hear what he's saying. I think when it first leaked, I don't think many people even could be bothered to listen to it or take it in, which is why I did this breakdown to just, because I was sitting on it for at least a week every day, just spending a few hours breaking it down and finding out the backstory between the things that were said. And obviously, you know, I feel like I've broken it down in a way that people can actually understand it. And I guess, you know, that's kind of catching on.
Like a wildfire.
But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how he responds. Look, at the end of the day, I've always been a fan of the music. I honestly don't care if somebody's a snitch. I'm not from the streets. I still could rock with Young Thug's music. I was never throwing Gunna in the trash because of these snitch allegations. I wouldn't throw Young Thug in the trash because of these snitch allegations. But it points out the hypocrisy that either they're both snitches or neither of them are snitches, or it doesn't really matter. But I just think Gunna has been really handled badly and betrayed, and I think that was wrong.
But also too, just to get the record clear, right? If you did have to pick, since you saying like you don't look at both of them, neither one of them is rats, right? But if you did have to pick one of them based off the things that both of them did, who would you pick as the rat?
Man, you get me in a corner with that question. If it was music, I would be choosing Gunna right now. If it was who said the most to the police, right now we got a 2-hour interrogation video of Young Thug, and we've got a 2-minute plea hearing of Gunna.
So basically, you saying you would pick Thug, right?
I mean, you forcing me to choose. I honestly feel like there's a case to be made for neither of them being snitches, but one can't be a snitch without the other one, basically.
Wait, how?
Case to be made for Thug. I don't see how is it a case for Thug to not be a snitch. Like, we all heard what he said. Like, that's not no AI. That's a real interrogation video, bro. How can we not say that's not telling?
I'm gonna defend Thug now. I'm gonna play devil's advocate and defend Thug, even though I've got my position. The argument a lot of people would give is that, well,
why mention Birdman? Why mention Wayne? Why mention Pee Wee? Why mention anybody? What y'all think, man? Let me know in the comments down below. Remember to keep that notification bell turned on. I will deliver 24/7 around the clock. You already know, but until next time, it's your boy Ray Giving. I'm gone. God bless. Peace.